Hello everyone, welcome back to the Nullified Tech channel here on YouTube, where we've got the TNT takes for you on probably the most insane, crazy, epic week that Survivor UK has ever produced. I'm your host, Mucky Hope, and today I won't be joined with anyone just yet, but we do have a nice guest coming along very, very soon. They are still just watching the rest of the second episode of this week. But let's get straight into it. I just want to give a massive shout out to Gabe. Thank you so much for being here with me in the live today. And I agree, this was a fantastic week. You know, it's quite an interesting thing, really, where Survivor UK at first was, really boring. Everyone was like really down on it, like, oh gosh, Survivor UK, like, it's really basic strategy. You'd lead, just wanting to keep the tribe strong, fight off the woman, all men alliance. You had Calaton, which was just, also being strength based. There's no gameplay. And then this week, just hit everyone like a train, didn't it? It's we had the great Doug blindside, which I kind of saw this coming. I was sort of looking at all the different numbers. It's like, you know what, Calaton, if they wanted to, like, could literally go anywhere they want. They don't have to just stick with everyone and go with Chris. They could do Pig Leg, Hannah, but not gonna lie, who wants to vote off Hannah at this point? Or Doug. Because something I was thinking was Doug's idol has now expired because his idol was only for 3 tribal councils. So when you think about it, he probably should have used it on the Lee vote to potentially save Lee, right? Because at least it's another number in the game. There's another round where people will probably take Lee out next regardless. But this is just a whole triple down effect for Doug. But Mad Dog Gabe quickly says here, it reminded me of San Juan del Sur when Josh and Jimmy went up back to back. Literally, I 100% agree. The front runners to win are gone. Who's our winner left out of these players? Well, Gabe, I have very similar feelings to Squid Game at the moment. For those who are watching reality TV Squid Game, just a quick shout out. Our podcast for it will be delayed until Sunday instead of Saturday. I've got a big 20-second coming up for your boy Mucky, so gonna have to slightly delay it till the next day. But we'll still bring that juicy content just for you. But yeah, it's like a lot of the front runners and that, like they introduce you to so many great characters, but they just get eliminated left, right, and center. So you're never quite sure who the front runners are. And I think after this week, who are the front runners? Is it Chris? Like Mad Dog Chris? Not the Nullified Take Chris, like Christopher from Survivor UK. He has, I don't know how he's done it, especially with this cast. This cast hasn't been very strategy heavy, massive gameplay heavy, especially throughout the pre-merge. And, kind of with the Lee vote onwards, every vote's been very strategic. But I was like, nah, there's no way Chris is getting out of this. Surely not. Even after Doug left, I was like, okay, Chris has to be next, surely, right? But no, Chris is still here. He's still thriving and surviving, and he really led the charge against Tanuke. He really started putting whispers in Matthew's ear on, you're on the bottom of this Calaton 5. Like you've got Tanuke and Nathan at the top. And are they really going to be taking Matthew with them to the end? I mean, I don't think they're really thinking about it, based off strategy. I do think Tanuke and Nathan would probably take Matthew with them to the final 3. But then it's literally they dragged Matthew to the end. And I think Matthew is a fan of the game. He does not want to be dragged. He does not want to be a pawn. He told us in this conversation with Lawrence that he doesn't want him and Lawrence just to be pawns for their game, right? He wants to be a player. He wants to make his own decisions and play his own game, right? And so this really worked for Chris. Kind of throughout the whole episode, he was putting whispers in Matthew's ear the whole time, like, you're at the bottom. You got to make like a big move. Like, be proud of your game. Like, now's the right time. You've got the numbers to back yourself up. And I do think that this was probably, I mean, it's kind of hard, right? Because it's kind of similar to when George took out Shawnee in Heroes vs. Villains. I think it was the wrong time, but it was also kind of the right time because Shawnee was thinking about going after George at the final 8 or the final 7. And with Matthews, having, Chris, Pegleg, and Hannah there, he's got the numbers to make this move. Because as we saw with Lawrence, he literally, chickened out last second. Well, he didn't exactly chicken out. He was still part of the move, but he just didn't want any of the backlash to go on him through Tanuke, Nathan, or Leilani, which I guess you can give him credit for that. That was pretty smart. But yeah, it's like it kind of feels a bit wrong timing, but also at the same time, when would be a good time to do it? Because Leilani isn't going to flip against them. Potentially next vote, but at the same time, once his next vote, is Pigleg and Hannah really going to back Matthew here to make this move? There's a chance that probably not, right? You know, they turned against Chris and Ashley in the first place because they were so strategic. They were, you know, playing very, very hard. But yeah, no, Matthew made this really big move, and I think it was actually a pretty good move. I think, yeah, despite even though I think potentially the timing could have been off, the other argument is when would have been a good time. So yeah, I do think it was a great move for Matthew to make, which Gable says here, Matthew was smart if he went along with Tanuka and Nathan to final three. It is for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think once you're like in the final three with Tanuka and Nathan, like there's nothing you can say that could be Tanuka's game. You know, everyone recognizes her as a big threat strategically and socially. And so far, she's, you know, kicking Nathan's butt in these individual challenges. You know, there's something really about big guys recently, you know, like way back in the day of early Survivor, it was originally, the big guys are going to win all the challenges. But when you really think about it, like quite recently, the big guys have not been winning any challenges, right? Like you had, you know, Jonathan in season 42, right? Like massive, strong guy. He literally looked like Chris Hemsworth Thor, right? He was so ginormous, but he only won 2 individual challenges, right? Throughout the entire season. You had people like Sean, David, Sam Webb in the recent Heroes versus Villains. And there was one other big guy, wasn't there? Oh, I'm not sure. But they, yeah, like I don't think any of them won any individual immunities, Sean, Sam, or David, right? But it's kind of the more smaller people like a Tanuka, for example, who are more like perfectly balanced in terms of all these different challenges that are really the long-term threats now instead of the stereotypical big, strong guys. So in terms of tugging Tanuka over Nathan, I personally would have gone for Nathan just because he was so smug at that tribal council. And with me personally, I love proving people wrong. You know, I would just vote for Nathan just to be like, not only were you so wrong, you're so wrong that you're out of the game, bro. Like, catch you later, big dog. Let's see what Gabe has to say here. Since Lawrence didn't do it, he might have not done it at 7, so take a shot at 8 was good, not relying on wildcard Lawrence. Yeah, let's talk about Lawrence for a quick second. So Lawrence, you know, he goes back to shelter. He knows about the plan. He agrees to the plan. He's like, yes, we need to take out Tanuke. Now's the time. I'm locked and loaded. And then he goes and tells Tanuke, what on earth is he doing, right? Like, I mean, I understand it's potentially jury management, right? But all you're doing is just giving Tanuka a reason to talk to Pigleg and Hannah. And I'm quite surprised that they didn't say, yeah, we were going to go for you, but guess what? Lawrence was the one who told us to go for you. Because imagine if they said that, right? Then everything spins around. Because then Tanuka is like, okay, Lawrence is going to go after me. Let's go after Lawrence, right? And then you just have this ginormous fracture with original Peloton, right? You know, I don't think Nathan is going to be too happy with Matthew. And if Nathan finds out Lawrence was kind of part of it, he might not be too happy at Lawrence. But Leilani, we've seen, you know, she was literally, the entire tribe voted her off, and she just went straight back to them like, oh, it's all good, guys. Oh my gosh, we're all goods. But like, you know, even though at this stage in the game, if Leilani does that again, it would be like, what on earth are you doing? I think Tom is quite high on Leilani being like the GOAT of the season. Someone who just gets dragged to the end but gets 0 votes. I kind of see that about Hannah. I don't see how Hannah or Leilani are winning. If they're the final 2 of the season, that'll be so funny. That really would be. Like, tell me that won't be so funny having Leilani and Hannah in the final 2. Like, that would just be phenomenal. But what did Gabe say here? Tanuka and exit interviews said to piss her off at Lawrence more. I mean, yeah, it's sort of like if you're going to make a move, just back yourself up, right? Just back yourself up. Tom, what do you mean, how do you? Get your butt on this live, all right? I've sent you the link. Hurry up and get on. That's right. As a bit of a spoiler, Tom was the special guest. The reason why it's so special It's because he hardly comes on anymore. He's got work and whatnot. I might have to come in and say my word. Yeah, well, hurry up, Tom. Hurry up. Yeah, it's so I guess go back to Lawrence and his decision. Like, he kind of wussed out, if you know what I mean. And I think if you're going to make a move, commit to it, right? You know, we saw this with Coach and Heroes versus Villains. Now, I love Coach. I think he's probably up there with one of my favorite American Survivor players. But when he chose to vote Courtney instead of Rob or Russell, that big showdown between them, it's kind of like, why? Just choose a side. And that's a big reason why he got voted out straight after Rob, right? Because people were literally just like, well, he's not going to pick a side, so we might as well take him out. Now, obviously, there were other reasons led by Sandra and how she kind of fooled Russell in that moment. But yeah, it's sort of like, if you're going to make a move, pick a side, right? Don't just throw your vote away, right? Because if I was on the jury and I found out that, like, let's say Tom, because I'm gonna piss on Tom until he eventually comes on. It's like if Tom just threw his vote, right? You know, he knew that there was move making, but he didn't really want to pick what side. I would not vote for him to win. It's like, bro, you wussed out, you know, like at least commit to the move, right? Either choose a side, like, you know, tie it up 4-4, or just like stick with Matthew and make this big move, right? Because I do think Matthew made this move simply because Lawrence was going to back him up. I don't think Matthew is going to be drawing rocks in this scenario. I don't think Matthew is going to try to convince everyone to split their votes so then, you know, he can do like a 4-2-2 or something like that. Let's see what Gabe has to say. Leilani wins. That'd be upsetting. She said bottom people want to win. Yeah, I think that's I think your opinion is shared globally. there, Gabe. I think, what has her game really been, right? You know, she hasn't really done much. She got photo out once she came back. I guess you could argue that she socially integrated herself well because she was never a target during the rest of that pre-merge stage. But, you know, how much of that is Leilani's social game and just how much of that is Lenina was just such a hot mess that, you know, they're targeting each other, right? You know, you had Chris and Lee having arguments. Lee was always kind of gunning after Ash. You know, people didn't trust Ren. Like, yeah, there was just so much going on. It's like, how much of it was Leilani's social game and how much of it was just the Blue Tribe just not being able to stick together at all. Let's see what Gabe has to say. I bet at least Matthew did it. And yeah, exactly. Matthew did not back out of it. So I'm actually really happy for Matthew that he didn't back out. It's an interesting thing, right? So Matthew has made this move on his own, right? You know, obviously with Chris, with Hannah, with Pegleg. It's kind of like, where is Lawrence going to go? Because Matthew is probably going to be quite annoyed at Lawrence right now, right? Because Lawrence, he backed out of the move. He didn't really pick a side. I think Lawrence could potentially be just an easy unanimous vote out, right? Because he's not willing to go with Matthew on the move against Tanuki. I think if Nathan and Leilani figure out that Lawrence was in on the move, but he didn't really, you know, act on it, maybe they don't really trust Lawrence as well, because it's like, well, if you're just going to go off and do your own thing, why should we work with you? So maybe that could be the easy next vote off, right? For kind of two sides to come together, get rid of Lawrence. You know, Chris is obviously, in my opinion, the biggest threat to win right now. So maybe they can come together, vote Chris off again, and then Matthew is in the prime position at final 5. I can't believe they're at final 7 already. Oh my gosh! But like, if those two votes happen, right? Matthew's in the prime position at the final 5. He could choose Nathan and Leilani or Hannah and Pegleg. But speaking of Pegleg, here is the peg to my leg. It is your mad dog, Tom. Thank you for finally showing up. How are you, bro? What's happened to Tom? He's holding his breath. He's
I got the hiccups just before as I pressed enter. So you know, you hold your breath and it fixes it.
Oh yeah. Normally I just submit to it. I allow the hiccups to take over me.
Yeah, no, I'm not a beta. But yeah, I mean, were you talking about flipping Lawrence's decision like within the first 15 minutes of the live? Jeez,
Yeah,
running
I
out of
was.
material. You know, that's the second episode.
I was kind of bouncing back and forth, back and forth. I was just waiting until your beautiful face showed up, Tom, because I miss you and I love you, man. And I need someone to really just suck the energy out of the podcast again. You know, you're like the
Yeah.
vacuum cleaner of our trio because you just go suck, suck, suck.
I'm more
Yeah.
active in this trio right now than somebody.
Yeah,
Wait. Actually, is the trio you, me, and Gabe?
Yeah, it is me, you, and Gabe. It's me, you, and Gabe at the moment.
Hey, Gabe, get this. Okay, so, I mean, both Mucky and I were watching the episode around just before, and Mucky fast forwarded it. Fast forwarded the tribal council at the end.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to get here in time, and I wanted to watch the whole thing, so I just let him know, hey, I'm gonna be a bit late, and he goes, "Don't worry, nothing interesting happens until the vote." And I'm thinking,
Nothing does.
wow. So if the vote's interesting, will it be the person they've been trying to target for 3 or 4 votes, or will it be the person they're not trying to target?
I didn't think of that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't think of that. I'm so sorry.
I was honestly gonna go take a nap and just leave you floundering, but then I went on YouTube and I went to check and I saw it was just you by yourself, and yeah, I pitied you. So that's why I'm here, okay?
Oh
Gabe,
my gosh.
what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear.
I'm so sorry, Tom. Oh my god. Mucky mucked. Yes, Mucky mucked it.
Yeah. And I mean I'm gonna cut Mucky a little bit of slack because the UK Survivor editing team also mucked it up by doing the whole with like the jury reaction in the next time on Survivor for the previous episodes. I'm like, oh well, someone interesting's gonna go. Like, it's obviously not going to be Chris going home next episode if the jury's reacting that way to whoever gets voted out. So like, you weren't the only useless human today, Mucky. I want you to know that there were many.
Well, since we're on the spoiling train, I also got spoiled because I followed some of the players' Instagrams, and I've been checking out all like the Squid Game content and whatnot, and a lot of the big front runners for that show have just been knocked out left, right, and center. They're at the final 3 now, and I just randomly refreshed my Instagram. On what? Oh no, there's like so many front runners. Like, I think probably a quarter of the cast you could consider a front runner because like the edit is so spread out evenly. No, I'm not. When you see Squid Game, you'll actually know what I mean. But when I refreshed my Instagram, it literally showed up with a photo of Doug and Tanuka getting their torture snuffed, and I was literally like, "Oh, great!" Like, like more front runners are going, but.
So you're all I'm hearing here is you're an idiot and all these mistakes are your fault, like including the mistakes that affect me as well are also your fault.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Good to know. I just want to say I'm a really good friend to you, Tom.
Yeah, I can tell.
Really.
Anyway, bye.
But yeah, so let's talk about okay, Thomas Captain, never mind. He's left me once again. Normally it's I leave him because I fall asleep on our phone calls, but this time he's gonna be leaving me. I've
fallen asleep way more times in life than you have. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. But let's I guess let's go into the first episode this week, Tom. Mad Dog Doug is gone. What's your thoughts?
I liked how they edited this, like his downfall. I mean, obviously there was a lot of music that didn't need to be there in between it, but I liked how it was pretty obvious he was getting voted out. Like they didn't really hide it at all. They weren't really trying to make too much of it wasn't like they weren't giving Lawrence, for example, they weren't going like Lawrence wasn't going, oh, I don't know if I should go with the Calatonians or the Lenenins on this one. What am I going to do? And then it's the whole, oh, will Lawrence stick with his tribe mates or will he flip and vote out Christopher or whatever? Like that they made it very obvious. I liked it because it really just felt like it kind of felt a little bit like Revenge of the Sithy, like in the whole like the tragedy that's about to play out, and like you're just
Yeah.
watching it all unwind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was like a nice, and there's also like a really nice editing moment. Oh yeah, when, on the reward when they're all having their fish and chips, and oh my goodness, like British fish and chips looks terrible. Like, what is
It
all that
does.
extra stuff they're eating? Like, and like the stuff that Chris was like slurping out of the that, and like it
Yeah.
was like a
Disgusting.
pickled eggs or whatever. I don't know, like a jar. I don't know.
Yeah.
UK people, tell me what this stuff is. It looks terrible. We just have fish and chips like here in Australia, like
Yeah.
well, mind blowing. But they taste good, so you just eat that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I like the stark contrast between like even though I had like terrible music that didn't fit the scene at all. I liked how they had that, and then it cut to like just the people who lost just eating rice, and then it went back to the people
Yeah.
having
No,
fun.
that was great. That was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
fish and chips is massive here in New Zealand as well. That's probably our number one like takeaways we have like in our whole country. But the UK fish and chips look terrible. Like it actually looked disgusting.
yeah, like I don't know why you need to have all that extra stuff. Like, why can't you just have fish and chips? Maybe like a bit of lemon, like if you want to, or
Mm,
also like
yeah.
a bit of sauce. That's all you need, really.
Yeah,
And yeah, and
exactly.
then and they're fizzy drinks. Like that's literally like exactly what you need. But
Yeah.
I will say like the challenges. Oh, I mean the final immunity challenge of the last episode was like not like a super special one, but like the other three slam dunks. I love the challenge where they have people on the pegs. I prefer it
Yeah.
as a solo immunity challenge. Like I think Jericho did it.
Mm,
In season 2 of Australian Survivor.
yeah.
Um, I've always wanted that challenge, especially by myself, where you're not having to like hope some other nugget doesn't, pull out the
Mm.
17 instead of the 11. Lawrence, I'm talking to you. Yeah, so like, but that's a great challenge. I love get a grip, like the
Yeah.
pole one. And then what was the other reward challenge in the first episode? I can't remember, but it was a good one. It was a good one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what was it.
Hmm.
I can't recall if I'm being honest. But now all the challenges this season, Tom, have been really great. I feel like they're grabbing all the challenges from American Survivor and other versions of Survivor that are like really beloved, and they're just throwing all of them into the season.
Yeah, I think that they put a few too many of like, because I love the especially like, well, I love all the endurance challenges, but I like how everyone's like I know Australian Survivor usually once a season has like one of the pre-merge endurance challenges where like everyone in the tribe has to hold a bag above the head or whatever like that.
Yeah.
I love those challenges, but I think in this season that they did like 2 or 3 of those in the pre-merge, and I think like you should
Yeah.
only do one in the pre-merge, even though I love them. Like, don't
Mm.
overdose on them because they are all the same thing, really. But
Yeah.
other than that, like other than that small critique, like they just gave me more of something I like, which is like literally the only critique I have with the challenges. So yeah, I think they've done like a few things great, but yeah, then just there's other things that it's doing horrendously. So it sort of balances out to be a medium season. But I do like the gameplay, like they're going back and forth. I'm curious to see how things go now that that they've taken out, what was it? Yeah, 3 consecutive
Like,
Lenins, and then the big game player on Calaton. I'm
yeah.
curious to see if Lawrence gets any backlash at all, or if it is only just Maddie. I didn't quite hear your full opinion on the Lawrence thing. So I know I heard you say like pick one side or the other, and then you said you threw me under the bus as if I'd do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be voting Jonathan every week. Oh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
Now, but my whole sort of thing, right, is that you don't wuss out of a vote, right? There's a comment here from Gabe. Where was it? It was Tanuki in X interview said that like that really pissed her off, right? Just like throwing the vote away. And my whole thing is like just choose a side, right? Because if I'm on a jury and someone just threw like they knew about a move, but they didn't pick which side to go on, then it's kind of like you're not even playing the game. You're just like a waste of space pretty much at that point, right? So it's like literally just choose a side, either be with a big move or just stick with your original alliance. And I can totally see a scenario where and there's something I was breaking down just earlier where Matthew and the Lenninans are together, got Nathan and Leilani on the bottom, but they all just turn on Lawrence because it's like, what side is he on, right? You know, Nathan and Leilani might just be like,
Yeah.
well, like, yes, he took Tanuke, but then he didn't vote with us, similar to the decision coach
coach
had to
thing.
make. Yeah.
I heard it. Yeah, maybe fall asleep, honestly. Boring. No, yeah.
No.
I mean, I can see it blowing up in his face. It was definitely. I can see his thought process though. Like he doesn't want to betray someone, and so he's given them warning, and he's not voting them out, but he's also not backing the wrong horse. Like, I understand it. It's just, yeah, I don't think it was executed well, and I think like I don't think UK is the kind of place to do that. Like, I wonder what country like would appreciate that kind of move. Maybe like Survivor Canada. Like,
I mean,
really?
probably.
Oh,
Or,
thank
or,
you.
or Survivor New Zealand.
Well, thanks for the warning, E. Yeah. I can't do a Canadian accent.
Yeah, fair enough. But I guess let's bring up Doug here because Doug post merge just kept going downhill, just like casualty after casualty. Doug said the plan was just to hide and then point out the hierarchy to get flipped. Christopher did it next round instead. What could Doug have done to avoid this, Tom? Because something I mentioned earlier in the live is that his idol that he had was only good for 3 tribals. So he had it at the Jess vote, the Shy vote, and then the last round to use it was the first vote of the merge when Lee went. And I think said, after you.
First, I was going to say, I don't know why they gave him like a 3 tribal idol. Like, it's your very first season. Just give a normal idol, like, because it was only that idol and Chris's idol that had been found, right? So like,
yeah,
that like, it's not too crazy to have, and it would have been even more satisfying, like having him blindsided with a functioning idol in his pocket.
Yeah,
I don't know, like it's cool that they have an extra vote, like that's nothing too crazy, but having like different kinds of idols in their debut season, I think that's a bit like, like just like it doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't do anything. It just took up screen time. His idol, like it literally didn't impact the story at all, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, like obviously, I mean, what can you do when you actually have literally no idea, like you're even remotely close to being voted out? Like,
yeah, I think you just look at it like, who are your numbers? Who are like your people in the game, right? And I think Doug was always going to be loyal to like the Lees, the Peg Legs, and the Hannah script. Those were always his numbers. So I think you got to do what you can to keep them in the game, because once Lee goes, let's say Christopher was unanimously voted off. Where does Doug go from here? So 5 Calatonians, the 3 of them, like, where does he go? What does he do? What numbers does he have? Like, there's nowhere literally to go from that point. So I feel like maybe he should have played his idol on Lee. I mean, at the same time, they were taking out Ash, so maybe they should have switched their target or something. I don't know, but I feel like they're just getting rid of all of Doug's numbers, and I don't think Doug just realized just how deep in the rabbit hole he really was.
Well, for some reason, like this, they all thought like all the Lennons thought, yeah, no, like it's like one tribe now. It's not 2 tribes in the same.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the first season. Like, when was the first US season where people played like it was just one tribe, of just a bunch of like people? Like there were no pre-tribal lines that kind of emanated throughout like the majority of the post-merge castmates.
Amazon?
Yeah,
but then again, it was mostly Rob just flip-flopping his way through. So I guess as an individual, he didn't really see it as tribal lines, but I guess they were, like still kind of roughly sticking to their own tribal lines.
Yeah, and even then, like for the most part, there was only a few seasons where like people would properly like like everyone would sort of see it as like every man for themselves once it's individual, until like even like season 30, like it's late season, like late 20s maybe, like and for these UK people to think, oh yeah, like yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, Gabe. Yeah, the first flip was Marquesas, but like even then, like it was still basically it was still basically tribe versus tribe, like for a while, and then it was only like here and there, like Vanuatu, for example, it was guys versus girls, and like it stayed that way, and then Chris just managed to stay in long enough to see like these women who hated each other implode. Oh, such a great second half of the season. Holy moly.
It was. The post-match of that season was fantastic.
Yeah.
Something that I do want to bring up is that Chris had a plan, right? To rally all of Original Blue, Original Laninas, and to put their votes onto Leilani. Now, he has an extra vote here, so he can tie it up 5-5. But an interesting debate that I was kind of seeing going around, does that extra vote work on a revote? Now, I don't think Chris would have been able to vote because he was... Oh, no, that's right. He wasn't in the title. It would have been for Doug. It would have been Doug that was tied with Leilani. Do you think Chris could have voted again? Or is the extra vote just a one-time thing?
I think he was crazy to think that. I guess he genuinely thought he was going home no matter what, so he might as well play it. But he was crazy to think that those 3 Lenins were going to vote with him.
Yeah. I think it was a long shot, but it was probably his only way to really... I mean, apart from Calatonians doing their own thing, that's probably the only way for him to not only like survive that vote, because kind of what you want to do, right? So you want to be able to survive the vote, but ensure that you're going to be okay for the next couple rounds, right? Like I guess you could do like just vote after vote, right? Where it's just one vote. Okay, who do I go next? Okay, the other vote, right? But if you don't make that big of enough impact on the game, it's like nothing really changes. You're stuck in the same position, just eventually until your time has come. So I do think if you're in Chris's position, the best you can hope for, like what Gabe brought up here, Chris playing at best is a vote carried over, forcing rocks, because if one of the original Calatonians like gets rocked out, or even if Pegleg or Hannah gets rocked out, at least Doug officially knows he's on the bottom. He can start playing. Everyone is shaking up because there are these official lines now. It's not just everyone against Chris. Or as the popular early 2000s show goes, everybody hates Chris. Did you watch that show, Tom?
No, but that really made me want to just leave right now. I mean, I was thinking about it before. I think, now that I think of it, if it was drawing rocks, like I don't think he would be able to vote like again with his extra vote, because then isn't he 2 people when it comes to drawing rocks? Because like he counts as 2 votes, so shouldn't he count as 2 people in the rock draw? I don't know. True. But anyway, I think it actually, I guess it could have been good, because at least like it made him look pretty dumb playing it, like, and it lowered. Not that he even like really has a threat level, because he didn't do anything. I mean, he did successfully flip Matthew in the next episode, which is like, good on him. Yeah. But it does lower his threat level, misplaying something and then being just so out of the loop. Like, the rest of Lenena were out of the loop, but I'd say Chris was more out of the loop than them somehow.
Yeah, especially like wasting an advantage as well, And something similar happened in Champions versus Contenders. I'm not sure if you heard Luke's deep dive, but at the John vote, Luke randomly thought, oh, we have the numbers to split on Harry as well, because at that point it was the Contenders. They had an idol who they're going to play it for. And Luke just randomly voted for Harry, thinking that they could split. But obviously they couldn't split. It was 5 against 4. But him doing that lowered people's opinions of him as being this like great overall threat, which is why he didn't become an official target again until I think it was like the final 6 or something like that. Because just at that point, everyone's like, oh, Luke, he was a wee bit out of the loop on that one, cheeky kooky Luke. So I guess something similar could have happened with Chris here, where he misplayed his extra vote advantage, and maybe people like Matthew aren't thinking that Chris is actually that much of a big threat anymore.
Well, maybe that's what Lawrence was doing as well. He was misplaying in the second episode to lower his threat level too. Maybe every misplay in the history of Survival was intentional. So,
Do you think Kara stuffing up the vote Brains versus Brawn was fully intentional to just lower her threat level?
Oh, 100%. I think she is. Never wanted to work at Big D, so yeah. And I think when she gave the idol to George, knowing that she would get voted out instead, that was definitely a great move to lower her threat level, because she would have been eliminated from the game, and then her threat level would have been it would have been literally non-existent because she would have been out.
Exactly.
Very clever.
Exactly. And that's how she made it to the final four.
Yeah. And honestly, she would have won, hands down. I mean, tell me who beats her. Tell me who beats her.
Exactly. Nobody. I mean, maybe Phil.
I mean, he got screwed over, twist screwed to the 10th degree.
Who's the cleaner lady? Janelle? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe she could have had a good chance against Kara, but
Saying she was just as strong as other people in the trial. Like, I don't think you were, actually. I think the Survivor casting people really hated you to put you in a Brains versus Brawn season, because like you should have just been on like a normal season, like without the thing,
absolutely.
like hands down.
Yeah. But I think we both agree on this. Do you think Doug was the right move for original Keloton to take, or do you think they should have gone after Hannah or Pigleg?
I mean, you only go over Hannah if like you perceived her as like a Courtney from season 12, by the way, that similar to how Sari got Courtney out because she knew everyone else wanted to take her to the end because she was a potato. Hannah's definitely one of, if not the biggest potatoes left in the cast. Like, she's not going to beat anyone that I can think of.
Yeah.
So you could vote her out in the sense that, well, that's freeing up a spot at the end for me. But no, I definitely keep her around longer. Pegleg, Pegleg's savvy, and he's got a lot going for him just without even thinking about gameplay. If you made it to the end, so I definitely would consider voting out Pegleg. I think keeping Doug is like, Doug's a bigger name than Pegleg, at least in terms of what we've seen as a threat level. So I probably would have taken out Pegleg instead of Doug, and then and then Doug's still like a legitimate threat to get out either in the next episode or in the future. So yeah, and it might have even saved Tanuke, because does Matt really want to turn on Tanuke, like one of the biggest threats in the game, to join Doug, who was like the next biggest threat in the game? It's like,
Maybe.
am I really going to flip everything and like put myself in a very risky situation just to take out one person who's going to definitely beat me, instead of another person who I have a smaller connection with who's also definitely going to beat me?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, Gabe brings up a really good point. To Tanuka analyzed correctly, Doug has the best chance to create a plan that dismantles Keloton Alliance. And I do think if you look at the track history, it was Doug and Pegleg who arrived at Keloton 2.0, and they just dominated their way through the tribe without playing any advantages, and taking out Jess and then Shy. They were always at the center points no matter what. And I think Pigleg is doing a great job and not really showing he's strategic, if that makes sense. Like, everyone kind of thinks of him as just this nice old guy who is a bit savvy, but he's not like any mastermind or great strategist. Whereas I think with Doug, he maybe does come across as a bit more strategic. Maybe he's had more of the strategic chats with original Keloton, so they're like, okay, probably take out Doug over Pigleg. But I mean, her alliance still got dismantled, not by Doug or Pigleg, but with Christopher. What did you think of Chris's move at flipping Matt over?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a great move. He did well, and I think it was great targeting Matt. You target a 21-year-old, like the most naive person there. And you also, like, I mean, I don't know if Matt and Lawrence had like I don't really know who Lawrence is close to be honest. Like he just
He was
exists.
close to Shy.
Yeah, I know, but like who's left? Shy
Yeah.
doesn't matter anymore. Um, so I mean, who would have thought? I mean, I think Lawrence was always someone who would have been easy to sway just because he's on the outer.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt was a good read. He's probably who I would have targeted as well. Don't know if I
Hmm.
would have had the same effect. I'm a 23-year-old, and if I was sort of trying to convince him when I'm only 2 years older than him, I don't think it would have had the same effect as if like a 36-year-old in Chris and
Yeah.
I think Pegleg's in his 50s somewhere. Like those two people talking to him, and especially like the way Pegleg spoke to him was very like there was not even a hint of like hesitation or like doubt. Like Pegleg was
Mm.
sure of everything he was saying to him, and Pegleg seemed very convincing in that. He didn't say much, but what he said was like convincing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's quickly talk about Lawrence here for a second. Lawrence, just a wild card. What did you think of Lawrence telling Tanuke that Pigleg, Hannah, and Chris were going after her?
I think it happened exactly the way you anticipate. Like, this person, I'm being targeted. I'm probably gonna do something about it. Like, did he think that she wasn't going to tell anyone?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because at the end he does just throw his vote away, right? So it's not like it really matters. Maybe the best thing could have been was to just throw your vote but not say anything to Tanuke, so then you can seem more legitimately shocked and blindsided by it. But since he kind of told Tanuke about it, maybe when she goes to the jury, she does actually know that Lawrence is part of it because he said that he's heard whispers of it.
Or didn't Gabe say before that Tanuke was annoyed about like
Yeah, at Lawrence in
yes,
his interview, yeah.
so clearly she knows that he did vote Peg.
Yeah. Lawrence thinks it's gerrymandering, but reality just upsets people. Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
I think.
sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's exactly what I said earlier in terms of you have to pick a side, right? You really do. It's like you can get more respect for making a big move. Like, I think even though people might be a bit pissed off at Matthew in game, I think when Matthew reaches the end, like you have to give him the credit for making that big move, and they'll probably reward him with the jury votes. But someone like Lawrence, who did not pick a side, is sort of like, why should I vote for you to win? You didn't. I mean, I guess a similar argument could be made to Shan from All Stars, right? Where a big Australian Survivor All Stars, where a big thing about her was that she was always kind of playing both sides, but she never really flipped on her side or anything, if that makes sense. Like she always stayed with the same alliance. She stayed with the Abby alliance, and then she stayed with the David and Moana alliance the whole way through. But she kept making promises and telling people, everyone on the bottom. But all that did in the end was just make everyone lose respect for her, because it's like I guess same with Albert in South Pacific as well, always playing people on the bottom, but never actually doing anything about it. And all that happened was people just lost respect for him at the end. So I think a similar case could be made for Lawrence if he reaches the end. What's your thoughts on all that?
And also the thing is, like, even if like it did make Tanuke like him more and like earn Tanuke's jury vote, people are still gonna go, oh, like Lawrence is actively trying to play to the jury. So like
Yeah,
that's not going to help him last longer in the game. Like when Angela when Angela in season 37 like was telling Elizabeth, oh, everyone's voting you, I don't know what to do, like,
yeah,
and then Elizabeth's like, oh, I'm going to use this information, and then like it like that blew up Angela's game. Like, sorry,
yeah.
not Angelina, yeah.
Angelina, yeah,
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 it blew up Angelina. Like no one respected her at all after that. Like she literally was dragged to the ends of the goat because everyone thought she was just a joke. And the
yeah,
worst part about it was like she took everything so seriously. Like she thought she was doing so well, and
yeah,
like yeah, no, she's great television, Angelina. Like I hope she comes
yeah.
back.
I
I
really hope
wonder
so too.
I wonder if she's just as delusional or if she like actually understands that, like, you know.
I mean, at the same time, you need, I guess, disillusional characters like that in the season to make it interesting, right? You know, something that I've been really enjoying about reality TV Squid Game is that there's so many different types of people, so many different types of characters. There's some characters who you just really hate and just like root heavily against, but there's some characters who you love and you're just rooting for them hard. And I feel like that's something American Survivor is missing because they keep trying to portray. Now, I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen season 45, so I'm not really sure how the edit is going for that season. Tom, I know you've been watching it, so you can probably say something, but I feel like the edit paints everyone in a positive light, and there is no big bad villain or someone who like, oh, I really don't like that person, because they just keep giving a positive edit the whole time. Unless if you just personally don't really like them, the edit never portrays anyone as a villain or that bad.
Well, Mucky, basically, season 45, every episode is kind of not that interesting until the vote, and then it's really interesting. Yeah? Like every single episode, the person you expect to not go home is the one who goes home. Just keep that in mind. But like,
Okay.
I mean, that shouldn't spoil it all for you. No, that should be fine. Like 45. I'm enjoying 45, but yeah, it follows the same. Like, it follows the same trend of every season since 41. Every person kind of is like the same person. Like,
Yeah.
they all have like the same types of jobs and they're the same age, and they all play the game in a very similar way, which sucks, obviously. Like that's like the biggest gripe I have about the new era of Survivor. It's like they've pushed so hard on like this diversity mandate, but they've somehow made everyone like more similar. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you find like that many people who are like the same person? Like, I know they're all different. Like, they're obviously all different and have like heaps of different personality traits, but the way they are shown in the show, it's just like, well, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and then like the other person like is thinking the exact same way as them, but like slightly different. And like, oh, this person's a lawyer, but this person is a doctor. Well, yeah, because those two kinds of people are definitely different. They don't enroll their kids in the exact same school or anything. They don't have the same social circle. No, they're completely different people, doctors and lawyers. Yeah, not like a garbage man and a professional musician. Nah,
that would actually be like really great. I mean, like one of the most iconic alliances of all time is JT and Stephen Fishback, right? And they're like completely different, right? Completely different. But anyways, let's get back to Survivor UK. We've definitely drifted off a wee bit, but so they come back from Tribal, and I think Gabe mentioned earlier, why didn't they? It's just crazy. Lenina just wrote off Christopher at the Doug vote. Well, I think it's similar to like with Calaton, they just completely rode Christopher off as well. Do you think Calaton should have included Chris into taking Doug out?
No, I don't. Actually, I mean, it might have helped Tanuke in hindsight.
Yeah,
but yeah, it depends. I think if because everyone knew he had the extra vote, so maybe he could have gone back to Lenena and been like, look, they have told me they are blindsiding you, Doug, and I've got an extra vote. I'm willing to use it on this tribal to give us Lenenans a fighting chance against the Calatonians, because we can go 5-5. Whoever, and draw rocks for each other. I'm willing to do that. And at the very least, it would have at least made Doug think, okay, maybe I might be copping some heat tonight. Maybe I can try and do something to my idol, my fake idol, my expired idol. Yeah, so maybe it was better to just leave him out. I mean, if you know you have the numbers, like, there's no need to get extra people. That's what I hate sometimes when what people do is like they've definitely already got the numbers and it's all good, but they try and rope another person into their plan that like may or may not completely botch the plan. But like like the upside is, oh, this person will trust me a little bit more, but the downside is this person could destroy my entire plan and I can go home this tonight as a result. Like,
Yeah.
is that equal? I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's not. And I do think that, exactly what you said. I think if Chris knows this information, he's not wanting to survive just one more tribal. He wants to, make I guess, what is it? Like a move in the game that will help set him up to reach the finals, right? Or to go a bit deeper. Because, he can just go and fight off Doug and then potentially Peg Leg next. But then he's stuck in the same position against the same majority, right? So it's like, why not just make this move? So I do think if Christopher was to know, he would do exactly what you said, Tom, and just try to recruit Doug, tell him exactly what Calaton's told him, and just go straight after Tanuka and Nathan.
That being said, I think Chris is also a bit of a hypocrite. I feel like he's the kind of person who, like, obviously on the bottom, he's like, but don't you see, like, you're on the bottom of the alliance? And then, like, when he's in the majority, he just, like, be the complete opposite of that and just be like, yeah, let's just vote out. Like, let's just, like, do the easy vote every episode. Like, I feel like if I'd love to see how Chris played. Like, if he was just in the majority the whole time, like, him and Ashley were, like, Tanuke and Nathan. Like, or at least before this episode, obviously, because she is Tanuki. So sad. Like, she was my favorite character. Like, I thought she was awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought she was really great too. Both Doug and Tanuki were the front runners of the season, in my opinion. And I'm shocked that we lost both the front runners, probably like the best male and female player of the season, perhaps. I know we still got a long way to go, but yeah, what did you think of Matthew flipping on Tanuki? Because I kind of feel like it was the wrong timing, but at the same time, when is he going to have the numbers to make a move like this? So what's your thoughts on Matthew flipping at this point?
Yeah, I think like I think Tanuki made a move too early with voting out Doug. Like, it was like Tanuki made a move one too early. Maybe Maddie made the move to one too early as well, but I feel like his move was better timed than Tanuki's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like.
Sorry. I was gonna say. I mean, I know like that they're obviously worried about like idols and stuff, and like if you vote out all like the obvious people first and then vote out like the people you actually want to get out, like they have a more likely chance of playing their idol, if they have one. But at the same time, like what Calaton could have done, the five of them vote out Chris in the last episode, and then it's 5-3. Okay, you can't split it yet. So between Doug, Hannah, and Pegleg, who's the least likely to play an idol or have an idol played on them? Probably Hannah. Let's just vote out Hannah as a safe option. And then in the next episode, they can split between Pegleg and Doug, and then like that would have been the safest, most boring way to do it. I'm glad I didn't do it that way, but like that's how I see it.
Yeah. Plus, Gabe brings up a really good point. Matthew couldn't rely on wildcard lines at 7, so he had to take a shot at the final 8. I do agree with that. I think as well, like when Lawrence went and told Tanuki she was receiving votes, I think maybe there was a switch in Matthew's head of, okay, I can't really trust Lawrence moving forward. Maybe I do need to make this move, because what if Lawrence just throws his vote again at the final 7? It's 3-3 tie. And then Lawrence definitely has to vote, between either or player. And I think that Lawrence would, it's hard what Lawrence would do. There's so much of a wild card here. I actually don't know where his allegiances truly lie.
I think I love having him there. So I don't think he cares. And like he wins the challenge where he's just like doing nothing, like pretty much. Like he's just
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I think he's cool, and he looks like me, so
exactly.
When he pulls a certain face, exact same.
No, Lawrence is a great character, and I know that early in the season during the Tribe Swap phase, I know that a lot of fans weren't, too happy with him targeting Jess and whatnot, and making all the comments like, oh, it's all about testosterone here. But I feel like, there's no other intention with that other than just making a joke out of it. Like, I feel like throughout this whole season, one thing we've always seen of Lawrence is that he always makes jokes. He's always trying to take the piss out of things. And I think that's really entertaining. He's sort of just laughing his way through the game. And I feel like we need more characters like that, Tom. What do you think? People who can just like laugh their way throughout the game.
Yeah, no, I think so too, but at the same time, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Yeah. So we do lose Doug and Tanuke here, with Matthew making the move. You like this move from Matthew, or do you think he should have waited?
I'm keen, like from the next time on Survivor. I'm keen to see how it goes because like, him and Chris having a bit of like a they seem like scallywags in the next episode. I feel like a 70-year-old lady saying that word. But yeah, like they're just sort of goofing around together. He's kind of giving a bit of Simon vibes. Matt, I think.
Yeah.
Matty. Yeah. So I think if he's able to keep himself safe for the next few episodes, then in hindsight, this will be a good move for him. But I just don't know. He's going to be very easy to throw under the bus, like sort of make the scapegoat for this. And like Lawrence said it even himself, like Maddie's copping all the heat, like for this move, whereas like Lawrence was getting away scot-free. At least that's what it seemed like on the next time in Survivor. Yeah.
Do you know what I personally think?
What?
And the sort of next, with the short bits we sort of got on the next time on, it kind of really reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean with Jack and Will, right? Where Will Turner, he was always this sort of really serious guy, but Jack, he's a massive goofball. Chris throughout the season, he's always been a goofball. Well, Matthew doesn't seem like he's having a lot of fun. We've sort of seen him; he's always been quite serious, quite loyal to the alliance. I can totally see a scenario where Chris and Matthew just really start messing up the game, right? Where they're like, you know what, let's just have some fun. Let's just make crazy moves, big ballsy moves. And, we see them, looking for an idol together. And, there's a clue down on the beach in front of everyone. And they're standing right there. And, yeah, I think we're going to get some pretty entertaining stuff. So Gabe says Matthew got to look out if he's just easy scapegoat next, or Lawrence is to satisfy everyone because he can't pick a side. I personally think Chris will make sure that Matthew stays in the game. I think Hannah and Pegleg might stick with the four of them because that's just an easy final four. Because I think that since Lawrence can't pick a side, at least Matthew chose a side. So they can technically trust Matthew more than Lawrence. What's your thought on that, Tom?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think Lawrence hasn't done himself any favors. He's got no strong connections in the game. And I think he'll be someone easy to bring to the end, but just as easy to take out whenever you want. So I think the next move will be to try and get out one of the either Nathan or Leilani.
Yeah.
Leilani's like savvy and Nathan's strong, but his strengths don't translate too well to most of the current challenges. So I'd honestly probably get rid of Leilani before Nathan.
All right. Fair enough. And I guess now that the two front runners are gone, who's your winner pick for the season?
No, I told you last week I'm not going to tell you, and I don't want to tell you. You'll find out. Okay. You'll find out when the person wins, and I'm correct.
Yeah, like whoever wins, you'll just be like, they were secretly the person who I was always rooting for.
No, because I'm not rooting for Leilani. I'm not rooting for Hannah. There. So, you've got some remaining options of who I think's going to win.
Well, I really hope we get Leilani and Hannah final two.
Is it a final two? Is it confirmed?
Oh, I've got no idea. I mean, how many people with it? 11 people?
18. What? Oh.
Like emerge. How many was it? 11?
Yeah, 11-ish.
So it could be final 3 with 8 or final 2 with 9.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah. So I can literally do either or this season. But my winner pick, I mean, I don't think this person will win, but I hope they win. And it's Chris. I feel like Chris is doing the most out of everyone that's
Al, I said UK was my favorite player. I can't help but that he was a potato. And
wow.
what? Oh yeah, I just don't think Leilani's gonna win. But like, I like her. But yeah, Hannah's a potato. And there's only two women left.
Yeah, it's just Leilani and Hannah.
Yeah, I love Tanuke. And well, Ashley and the Rachels, they're all the same person, so that that doesn't help. Anyway.
Yeah. You're supposed to say, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, yeah, to be fair, I guess my top 5 Australian Survivor players was was all men. But if I'm being honest,
no, Rogue was in the top 5.
I wasn't allowed to pick Rogue. I had a chat with Chris prior to the podcast, and he said I could not pick Rogue because I had to pick someone with actual evidence to back it up. But obviously, Sneaky Steve, there's already so much evidence supporting that. But but with
to be fair, if I was choosing my top 5, like the best Australian Survivor players, off the top of my head, it would all be men because Hayley lost. Because Hayley got voted out in her season, like she cannot be in the top 5 best players across 8 seasons for me. Like she fundamentally lost the game and just lucked out. Oh, by the way, how crazy is it that Leilani got saved in that one vote, and then it doesn't look like there's going to be another non-elimination. Like if that's the only non-elimination of the season, that would just feel so weird. Like, is this a normal season of American Survivor? Oh, but Leilani, you just get to stay.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, because out of everyone in the pre-merge they could have saved, right? This really shows that Survivor's not rigged. I know a lot of people try and say that Survivor's rigged.
I think she's an interesting character. I think they're getting more out of her.
Gabe is really piling on Tom here.
Hey, Gabe, are you telling me Hayley's a great? Obviously, she's a great player overall, but in terms of her winning game, how much credit do you give her when she not only got voted out, she got unanimously voted out? She absolutely blew her game up so unbelievably, and then got saved by a twist. That's the only reason she won.
Well,
the only reason she won is because she got saved.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think Leilani is on par with Hayley?
No, I think.
If Leilani wins, the season, do you put Leilani on par with Hayley?
No. I mean, who knows? Maybe maybe every episode she does let's say there's 4 episodes left or 5. Maybe she does the 4 best moves ever in Survivor history in the next 4 episodes. I know you can't really judge it right now, but no, I agree with that, Gabe. If Hayley plays 100 times, she wins more than she. Oh yeah, no, she doesn't win more than she loses, because that would mean she wins at least 51 times and loses 49 times. That's. I don't think any player's got that kind of win rate, but no, I think she is, she is very well built for Survivor. But when you think about the best female Australian players, there's her. In terms of in terms of the ones that are commonly discussed, because you could, different people have different opinions. I rank her a lot lower than other people because she got voted out in her winning game. But yeah, obviously she's the one that people mention the most. Then probably Shawnee would be the one people mention the next most. And it's interesting because people say she plays better each time she plays, but she also gets eliminated earlier. So it's and I think her threat management is hard. She's not great at managing her threat level. So once again, if you're ranking people and if they played 100 times, how many times will they win, and like that's how you decide who's the best. I don't know how many times Shawnee wins out of 100. Like I think she plays a good game, like pretty much every time she plays. But she's also someone who is very likely to get voted out early. Like she got pretty lucky not to get voted out early
And All Stars.
in All Stars, and even like her first season, like she was like not 100%. She was lucky that she was with like a bunch of like just idiot idiot guys, but like she had Zach and Robbie, that's who she was playing with, like
pretty much.
Yeah, but no, so like they're probably like the two biggest ones. I mean, who else is there in terms of like undisputed top tier? Oh yeah, Sean.
I rate Flick from season 1 in All Stars.
Wait, sorry. I thought you were talking about Flick.
No, not Brain's Firstborn Flick. Like season 1 in All Stars. I was gonna put it in my top 5, but it's okay with Benji. Something about me, Gabe, and I guess to the audience, you may not realize this, but I like to stir the pot a wee bit, and so I just like to kind of throw in people's names and whatnot, and to see what sort of sticks. Like Chris even told me after the podcast he expected it to be half an hour long. Pretty sure it was like an hour 45, like in total. So I think Flick's a high enough player. I think Shawnee's high enough player. I think Sarah from season 2, even though she's only played once.
I love Sarah.
Like is up there. Like
she's one of my favorite players of all time. Like if she played again, that would just make my day. But and I just thought, I think the person I'd rate the highest out of female Australian Survivor players off the top of my head, I only just thought of her then, Brooke. I think Brooke's an amazing player.
Brooke's definitely up there.
I don't know if she'd make top 5, but she might be like 6th or something. But like this is literally off the top of my head. Like I'd have to think about this. Like obviously, like the people who come to mind straight away is like David, and
Luke.
Yeah. If I was judging it purely like off gameplay, I don't know if Luke is top 5.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Because like he does, especially in his first time playing, he does a lot of ridiculously stupid things like that. Like he just rocks the boat for no reason. Obviously he's one of my favorite Australian Survivor player, but I don't know if that makes him like. And also, like he's never gonna win. He has to win out. Like that's the only chance of making it to the end. But yeah. That's a good question, Gabe.
Actually, we'll quickly do this, and then we'll probably have to end the live stream because I've got to go, and I know you've got to go, Tom. But I'll let you rate 1 to 7.
No, you go first. You go first. Yeah,
you go first. So I'm gonna rate this in terms of who I think is going to win the season. Right? You know, obviously we've all got our own personal rankings on who we find entertaining, whatnot. Like who's the most safest and whatnot. I'm just going to go with who I think is going to win.
I think he's saying just who you'd be happy to see win. Like it's not like who's the best player or like who do you think is like the best edit wise or anything. It's just who would you be happy with?
Oh, who would I be happy with?
Yeah, from last to first.
Last first. Okay, I think probably Hannah is at the bottom. Unfortunately, you know, it's nothing against Hannah. We just haven't seen much of.
Mucky, you hate women.
Number 6 would be Nathan. I feel like Nathan hasn't really done anything. He's just sort of really been there, and he kind of lets Tanuki was really running things. They really lost all that. Like he lost Jess and his alliance, and it was really just because Doug and Pegleg saw the opportunity to use Nathan to split up Shy and Lawrence that they kept Nathan. And then during this whole post-merge, Nathan was just with Tanuki the whole time. So he hasn't really done anything for me to really prove why he'll be a great winner. Like he's even had fun moments and whatnot, but just in terms of winning, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Leilani would be 5th. I do actually enjoy watching Leilani. I feel like she's like the opposite of Tara from Australian Survivor 2017, where Tara I just found really annoying the whole time. But like I knew she was a goat, Tara, but I just found her annoying. Whereas with Leilani, I know she's a goat, but I'm like really enjoying. Like just I think at one point she was just like, oh, we'll just tell the other side we don't know who we're gonna vote for. Like it's just just like really, really basic bad gameplay.
Oh,
But I love it.
sorry, like, wait, was that Leilani or Tara who said that?
Leilani.
Oh, okay. I was just, yeah, no, I could do a rant about the amount of terrible things Tara did. Just like in her final tribal speech, I think I started playing the game when I voted Lockie out. Oh, you mean the person who came 5th? Oh, yeah. Oh,
Well,
gee. Wow. You must deserve $500,000 because you started playing what on like day 47.
yeah, but
Jesus, like how
I
can you be that
mean,
stupid?
there is actually a story for Tara that she could use, but she just botched it. But I'll keep going. So Leilani fourth would probably have to be Lawrence, if I'm being perfectly honest, because just like I said, while he's an entertaining character, he hasn't really done much. Third would be Pigleg. No, third would be Matthew. I like Matthew. I like the movie he made, but I've never really felt that much invested in Matthew until this recent episode. Second would be Pigleg. I love Pigleg. I love his story, and I actually kind of hope he wins. I feel like that would just be a great thing for Pigleg. Number one is Chris. Chris has been playing the game since the start. Very entertaining, very funny. I love his confessionals, and I love, even though he's receiving votes, he still acts like as if it's a complete shock. It'd be like first vote Chris. He's just like, wow, like his like jaws always dropped. I love that. That's probably my rankings. How about you, Tom?
Well, even though I really like Leilani, like she started off as a potato, but like I've grown to like her. She gets an automatic asterisk, like an automatic number 7, because like she's been voted out, and I never want to see someone who's been voted out of the game then go on to win the game. But and then next is Hannah. I literally don't know anything about her. I don't know who Hannah is. By the way, Tsunike would have been number 1 until she got voted out. So that's 6. Number 5 would probably be Nathan. Like he just seems like a boring winner. There's nothing special.
Yeah.
Top 4 would be hard. In terms of categorizing them, I think I'm gonna put Pegleg at number 1 because he warms my cold little heart. Chris would be number 2. I think at the moment I'm going to put Lawrence number 3, but Maddie would by the time the season's over, Maddie's probably going to overtake him because Maddie wasn't really someone I was paying too much attention to until this episode, and I'm already excited to see what he does next episode, so I can see him jumping to number 3. But I have liked Lawrence since day 1, and he's kind of like started to drop and teeter. Like he's sort of, like Lawrence is like sort of doing this, and Maddie's kind of like done this, and he's slivering up, so he'll probably overtake Lawrence next week, I'd say. But yeah, probably Pegleg number 1, and then Chris number 2. I think Chris is a great entertaining character.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is us for tonight. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below. And leave a comment on your thoughts on the season and on our podcast. We love hearing feedback, and we love hearing your thoughts across the whole season. Tom, thank you so much for joining me on this recap. Even though for a moment I thought I was going to be stuck here all by my cheeky little lonesome.
I mean, you deserve it after what you pulled.
Yeah, I did. I'm so. You have no idea how bad I feel. I really do. I feel so bad. But thank you so much for coming on, brother. Really appreciate you. Really love you. And thanks so much for Gabe for being so interactive in this live stream as well. Really appreciate you, brother. And I can't wait to see you next time as well. Right. Same time next Wednesday. Thanks so much for coming, everyone. And once again, but yeah, thanks so much for coming, everyone. And we'll be doing our Squid Game on Sunday instead of Saturday. But until then, I will see you next time. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.